Sports.
We are the Horse. We are MC.
Royals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors, and it is beautiful outdoors in Kansas City as the Royals are home for 6, beginning with a 3-game series against the Oakland A's. And as we speak, before the Royals look ahead to the A's, Royals look back on another great season on defense. You know, before 2013, HUD, the Royals never had 3 Gold Glove winners in 1 year, and now they've done it in back-to-back years.
Yes, the environment has changed from losing to winning here, and when you win, you catch the ball. How about these guys? Hosmer, 2-timer, along with Salvador Perez, but really, this next guy they're going to introduce is going to bring the house down right now.
Alex Gordon will be getting his 4th, and next to that is a platinum glove. Maybe you're not familiar with a platinum glove. That goes to the best defensive player in each league. Yadier Molina, the catcher of the Cardinals, won in the National League, and this year Alex Gordon was the Platinum Glove winner.
I'm getting goosebumps. You win a gold, you're one of the best in your position in that league. But you win a platinum, you're the best fielder in the entire league. That's amazing, and hope it continues, and hopefully we see a few more next year this time.
Welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. And, you know, really the Royals are part of a defensive renaissance in Major League Baseball. Teams are really starting to focus on preventing runs as much as they are trying to score runs. And the Royals defensively have been game changers. T-Mobile game changers. And here are the Gold Glove winners from last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing when you see the body of work that these guys do night after night. Alex Gordon, hands down, is the best left fielder that many have seen that have played with him during his days. But I tell you what, Salvador Perez has a chance to run off 10 straight if he stays at that catcher's position. They could move him later in his career over to first base to help his wear and tear. But he throws, he catches, he pays attention to detail. And Hosmer, his hands are so soft over there at first base. Look at that. He has a great throwing arm as well, which you don't see a lot of first basemen. Hosmer can get the job done, but man, this guy, he brings the people to their feet here at the K. Look at the throws, accuracy. He's one of the most accurate throwers there is in baseball, and he has no fear. Great to see them guys be acknowledged in front of their crowd.
And on the topic of looking back to last year, Billy Butler's in town for the first time in another uniform. And Billy Butler got his American League Championship ring before tonight's game. Joel and Monty will visit with him when we come back.
Reverse Rewind takes a look at Billy Butler. Had that memorable 2012 and the All-Star game, and the chance of Billy Butler. He was a first-round draft pick by the Royals back in 2004. And one of his highlights, even had a stolen base in the playoffs. He has that bag sitting next to his Silver Slugger Award in his house. And for the first time ever, Billy Butler is here at Kauffman Stadium as a member of another team. Joel Goldberg back at the K. And Billy, it's been a whirlwind for him all over the place, visiting with so many people, including Jeff Montgomery and myself. And he is really excited to be back. And he talked about a little bit of the confusion of being here as a visitor.
I went right first and then went left, so I think I took a detour. But no, I mean, it's definitely, it's definitely a tough thing. I might, if I get out tonight, might take a right and go into that dugout. I did that more times than I got hit. So, I mean, if I do it, don't judge me. I might go in there and give one of them a hug and then come back over.
And those Billy Butler chants just happened a little while ago. He got his ring, and his longtime friend Alex Gordon, hey, put that old Royals hat back on him for a moment. Good to have him back. First pitch coming up next.
Chevrolet, and it's a 3-game series tonight, tomorrow night 6:10, and Sunday afternoon before the Minnesota Twins come to town. So 3 games with Bob Melvin in his 5th season as A's manager. He's had a heck of a lot of success since taking over with a winning percentage of .555. I'm sure a sour taste in his mouth when he walked into the ballpark today, remembering what happened here for the wild card. And here is his lineup, all set to face Jeremy Guthrie. Sam Fuld leading off, no Coco Crisp. He is on the disabled list. And Kia will put us in the driver's seat as we take a look at Jeremy Guthrie's first start, a win Saturday at the Angels, giving up 4 runs in 7 innings.
Gotta love that performance. Guthrie's able to repeat his delivery almost every time. He's very consistent with that. Helps him with his command. Fastball. He'll cut his fastball as well. Curveball and a changeup are in his repertoire. He'll mix them all from the first batter on So however long he goes, if he can go 6, that would be a beautiful thing for Ned. He'd like that.
Facing a former college teammate, Sam Fuld. They spent 2 years together at Stanford.
Outfield, they're shallow, not respecting Fuld's pop at all. Thinking he's going to try to dump one over the infielders' heads.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Straight up, slightly opposite field by Lorenzo Kane in center.
Guthrie in that start against the Angels, 2 pitches into the game and the Royals were down. Cole Calhoun hit a home run, but Guthrie ended up going 7 innings. He finished strong, as he often does. Retired the last 7 Angels, and the Royals won 6-4. Hosmer, who has presented his 2nd Gold Glove just moments ago, he goes to the bag, 1 down.
Yep, you want to keep it away from Hosmer if you can.
Poured around the horn, and there are the 3 Gold Glove winners.
Could be another one here, and possibly right here. You never know.
And now strike 2. Mark Canha, a Rule 5 pick, playing in left field. The A's are short-handed with Coco Crisp on the disabled list.
General Manager Billy Beane had his eye on this guy all winter long. So far, he hasn't disappointed.
Slow breaking ball in for a strike. Canha is from the Bay Area, but he was playing on the other side of the country. He was in the Marlins organization, taken in the Rule 5 by Colorado and then traded to Oakland. So back to the Bay Area to begin his big league career. Guthrie grabs it with his bare hand and throws him out. And on the topic of Gold Gloves, Jeremy Guthrie is a very good fielding pitcher.
Sure was, and you could see he had his right hand out the whole way, concentrating. Look at him. He's saying, all right, all right, all right, I'm going to bare hand this all the way. Gathered himself, got his feet underneath him, threw a nice little lob shot over there. Looks like Canha can run pretty well, too. Look at Haas making sure with 2 hands, cradling it in.
Ben Zobrist jumps on the first pitch. Paulo Orlando's in right field tonight, and he squeezes it to finish off an 11 pitch 1-2-3 top of the first. City Chevy dealers. Visit your Chevy dealer today for great prices on all new 2015 vehicles. And by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Royals starting lineup presented by State Farm. Paulo Orlando is going to get a shot against a right-hand pitcher tonight, and not any right-hand pitcher. One of the best in the American League, Sonny Gray, who won 14 games last year for the A's and is off to a very good start this year in 2 starts, as in a 0.59 ERA.
He'll be very tough if he's on top of his game. Royals are going to have to really find that mistake and do something with it, because he's got an excellent fastball, 92 to 94. He cuts, and he's got a nice big curveball, slider, and a changeup. All 4 pitches he has command with.
And quickly 0-2 on Escobar. Escobar was more of an RBI man than setting the table and scoring. He drove in 5 during the road trip. Gray tried to grab it with his bare hand. Zobrist near second base makes a good play. Oakland A's are not off to a good start defensively. They have committed 9 errors as a team in their first 10 games, and there are some of the new faces, many new faces, in addition to their DH Billy Butler.
Yep, that's Billy Beane, their general manager. He's a very creative guy. Now watch, too bad he didn't just tip this with his hand. Else Escobar would have had a base hit. But in case any runners for Kansas City do get on, Sonny Gray has one of the best and quickest right-handed pickoff moves there is. I mean, he's right up there with Yordano Ventura's quick feet and accuracy on the throw.
Handles a sharp one-hopper and gets Mike Moustakas 2 down. So 14 wins for Sonny Gray last year. He was an all-star. Our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard shows you some of his top 10 rankings. 8th in ERA, 7th in innings pitched, well over 200. Opponent's batting average, the league hit .232 against him, and 26 of his starts were quality starts.
Hard to believe the kind of command this young man possesses. And last season was just his first full year in the big leagues. Great young pitcher.
Lorenzo Kane had a huge road trip. Angels and the Twins just simply couldn't keep him off base. And now the A's will have trouble keeping him off base. Sam Fuld runs to cut it off, and Lorenzo's on with a 2-out single. And that's a 10-game hitting streak for Lorenzo Kane to begin the season.
Well, there's a hitter right there ready to hit. First good fastball he sees, he's on it. He jumps on it. That's a mistake. It's out over the middle. Short, compact, and on contact, he was out of that box, and it's a good thing Fuld got to it quickly. It didn't bobble it, or else Lorenzo Kane would have been on second base.
That's also a career high 10-game hitting streak for Kane. Ball 1 to Eric Hosmer. Hosmer drove in 4 during the road trip. 3 of those in the just completed Minnesota series. (2-0).
Great to be home. Looking at that beautiful grass here at Kauffman Stadium. It is green like everything else is around. Another nice sellout crowd today.
Look at the run on that pitch. Wow.
That ball just jumps out of his hand. He's got late life. Hardly anything he throws is straight, making it very difficult for a hitter to barrel him up.
2-2. Curveball is one of the best in the league, if not the best curveball by a right-hand pitcher. And all 4 of those pitches produce a very low opponent's batting average. There is no weakest link among those 4.
Look for the fastball and don't miss it.
Hosmer got a pitch up. Simeon can't find it. Base hit for Hosmer, and the Royals have 2 on with 2 out.
A little bit too hot to handle for Simeon. And there might be some folks back home saying, well, wait a minute, that was right at him. He's a big leaguer. Well, until you've actually tried to make that play, you'll know how hard that is. That's an in-between hop on the line. He chose to backhand. It would have been better off if he could have got in front of it, but still, see if the Royals can take advantage of the misplay. Hosmer will take the knock.
And Gray gets another chance. He'll run it halfway to first, and that's the inning. Royals strand 2, and when we come back, Billy Butler will come to the plate for the first time in another uniform. Got his championship ring presented by his good buddy Alex Gordon before the game tonight. Well, in 17 years, that's the best reception for a visiting player I've seen. And Billy Butler tried to get into the box, but stepped out and tipped his helmet to all sides of Kauffman Stadium. And now he grounds it out to Moustakas. And that's that, at least for the first at bat. Billy Butler. Huge ovation when he got his American League Championship ring, but many of the fans weren't in the stadium yet, and now pretty much filled up, and everybody on their feet and welcoming him back to Kansas City.
Yeah, Moose took care of Billy. Great ovation.
And nobody cares about Ike Davis.
Apparently not.
I mean, all of a sudden, Kauffman Stadium's a library when Ike Davis is announced into the game. But he's had a good start to the season. Kane will let it bounce in front of him. And that's a 7-game hitting streak for Ike Davis. He's on with 1 out. Jeremy Guthrie is 4-5 in his career against the Oakland A's. Here's what this particular lineup has done against him. Josh Reddick has not only been good against Guthrie, he's been very good against the Royals. So the Royals are glad to see him down hitting 8th in the lineup.
Better believe that. Zobrist has a lot of at bats.
Stephen Vogt, A's catcher. A little bit down and away. Chad Fairchild is the home plate umpire.
Guthrie doing a nice job keeping his pitches down so far. He knows that's exactly where he wants to keep it. Let that infield do their thing.
Fair ball. Paulo Orlando is in right field tonight. Ike Davis goes to third, and Stephen Vogt is into second base with a double.
Vogt got a pitch out over the middle of the plate, hits his second double on the season. Good swing. No chance for Hosmer. That ball was hit hard, scorched.
So 2 in scoring position for Brett Lawrie. We've seen quite a bit of him with the Toronto Blue Jays, and now he's bunting. Guthrie fields and scoops to first as Davis comes down from third to score the game's first run. And Brett Lawrie making sure he got at least 1 in. 2 down.
A smart play by Lawrie. He's a heady type player. A lot of speed, a lot of energy. Great touch there. He had it planned all the way. First fastball he's going to see, places it just right. Plates the run. Laurie's reached base safely in 9 of his first 10 games this year. He's a good player for him.
Sal thought about throwing down to third. Picking on his counterpart, Stephen Vogt, who's looking in and saying, come on, man. Off the end of the bat, slicing toward left, but Kane is there to make the play. On the sacrifice bunt, the Oakland A's take a 1-0 lead. A's take a 1-0 lead to the bottom of the second inning. Here's our University of Kansas Hospital injury report. Brian Flynn at AAA Omaha. And he almost made the club out of spring training, coming over from the Marlins in the Aaron Crow deal. Has a left lat strain, and Hud, lat is short for
latissimus dorsi.
That's the big muscle behind the shoulder, right?
That's right. I call that muscle the hood of the cobra. And to really work those lats by doing some wide grip chin-ups before the season starts. That way, when you wear that pitcher out and he gets angry and he tries to pick out that lat, you just flex the hood of the cobra on him. Take your pitch, take his pitch and get down to first base. Go get a piece of that second baseman. You get me fired up now talking about the latissimus dorsi.
One and two on Alex. Sonny Gray worked around a couple of 2-out singles in the first inning.
Sorry to hear about that injury.
Yeah. One of the last roster decisions for the Royals out of spring training. Flynn going down to the minor leagues, and the Royals going with the veteran Ryan Madsen in the bullpen.
I guess if you're a pitcher and you tear that muscle, you're out for a while. Aaron Crow, the guy got traded for last year, our guy, he's out with Tommy John. Ooh, that came a little bit close to Alex.
Alex was hit by 3 pitches on the road trip. Royals as a team have been plunked 13 times, and one of those, on the topic of injuries, sent Alex Rios to the disabled list with a broken finger on his left hand. Gordon, Perez, and Orlando in the bottom of the second inning. That was a good pitch right there, and Alex laid off it. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that curveball has some real big time dip to it. 12-6 on the clock. Hitters like to call that one. It's a bender. Trying to hit the one that's straight.
Off of Alex's foot, still 3-2. Alex Gordon, a chance to take home. He knew that he won another Gold Glove, but now he can take it home next to his Platinum Glove, which goes to the best individual defensive player in each league. Yadier Molina in the National League, Alex Gordon in the American League. And now on with a leadoff walk.
And there might be some folks saying, platinum? What the heck is that? Well, you explained it. That's the best fielder, period, in the league. And that award is fairly new. It just came out in 2011. The gold is pretty special, but to have a platinum, that's lifetime bragging rights.
Salvador Perez got his second Gold Glove before the game tonight. Sal had 2 home runs, 6 RBIs during the road trip. Over the inside, boy, that fastball runs, doesn't it?
Sure does. And there's Rusty Kuntz, first base coach. He was telling me on the team bus coming in last night from Minnesota. Boy, I'll tell you, we got our work cut out for us if we get anybody on. Gray is really quick home, and he's got a great move to first base.
Busted bat in the dirt, and Semien saves what could have been an ugly play for the A's. That could have very well been first and third and nobody out, but Semien bails out Gray, and the A's get the force on Gordon at second base.
Gray is a tremendous fielding pitcher. Look, he says, you know what? Gordon was almost there, so he rushed the throw, but the good hands man, the shortstop Semien, picks that no problem. Doesn't give up on it. Trying to get Salvi. Good concentration, especially with the broken bat and the ball coming at you at the same time. Semien was with the White Sox last year. Okay, here it comes. Both the bat and the head of that barrel.
Now Paulo Orlando. Royals want to get a look at him in right field with Alex Rios out, and Ned Yost remembers the game last year in Oakland. Pivotal game for the Royals, and it was Sonny Gray and Jeremy Guthrie, our pitching matchup tonight. A 1-0 game. Raul Ibanez hit a home run. That was the only run of the game, and Ned wanted to go with Orlando because of his defense and more familiar in right field than Gerard Dyson is.
That's right. But from the center field camera on the pitch, if you look at Paulo, he resembles Alex Rios big time. Both those players, very similar physiques, tall and lean and very athletic. Paulo was being a little bit generous as far as giving the catcher some ground there. Vogt, you don't have to leave that batter's box. He's got to go around you. Doesn't he look like Rios a little bit from this angle here?
2-2. I can see it.
Both very similar.
And we'll do it again. Orlando can play all three outfield positions. As we discussed in Minnesota yesterday, it is easy to fall into the trap that if you can play center field, which is where you normally put your best outfielder, that, well, you slide him over to right or left and it's no big deal, not a big adjustment. It is a huge adjustment. It's hard to find someone who can play all three outfield positions well. There's that hard curveball, knee buckling curveball. Sonny Gray has his first strikeout.
You're right, Ryan. What an outfielder has to do in the situation like that when you're playing both is you just trust your athleticism and just go get the ball. Try to keep it simple during the game. However, you get your work in during batting practice by taking live balls off of the bat of the hitters on your team. And then you get to know the carry, the slice, and the way the ball moves. But when it comes to game time, you just go out and see that ball and go get it. Keep it simple, just like hitters try to do during the game.
Omar Infante is hitting 188, but slowly warming up at the plate. He has hit safely in his last 6 games. He got yesterday off in Minnesota. Christian Colon made his first start at second base. No swing. Jim Joyce, crew chief, down at first. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Shortstop Marcus Semien playing Infante a couple of steps to pull on the infield. Typically with a guy with a good fastball like that, you might play him to the other side.
Just outside. 2-1. Just pinpoint control. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Hard to touch that one. Very, very smooth with his delivery. Typically likes to pound right-handers inside. Maybe that's why Semien, the shortstop's playing him to pull a little bit. Now you know that breaking ball could be coming. You have to just protect against that, but look for the fastball.
In the dirt. And Vogt throws him out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Gray to end the bottom of the 2nd inning. Oakland leads 1-0. Guthrie, how about this weather?
Beautiful tonight.
Marcus Semien leads off and fouls it away. Let's go down to Jeff Montgomery. And last homestand against the White Sox, Monty, we had you on the field, or just off the field on the first base side. Now we got you on the third base side.
You know, take a little different vantage point here. Got a couple right-handers on the mound today. Great view from here in a third base camera well.
I want to spend some time talking to Monty this inning about somewhat of a transition for Jeremy Guthrie last year. We remember when Guthrie came to the Royals in 2012, it seemed to be a match made in heaven because he is a fly ball pitcher, and this ballpark is made for fly ball pitchers, and Guthrie really turned his season around here. Semien pulls it into the corner, fair. Alex didn't quite get the bounce he was hoping for, and Marcus Semien is into second base with a leadoff double. But Monty, it's interesting, Guthrie late in the year last year kind of made the transition from a fly ball pitcher to a ground ball pitcher.
Yeah, he was a guy that really pitched to his defense well. We know he's a guy that understands how to be effective on the mound, a guy that really turned it on during the second half of last season. Great to see him make the adjustment. Got to see him get out of the sitting here tonight.
One of his ground ball outs tonight was against Sam Fuld, and Fuld grounded to the right side. He'll try and do at least the same thing here and get Semien to third base.
He'll try, although he's a good bunter. Moustakas in on the grass. Respecting that.
And Guthrie pitching him down and away, trying to put it in a spot that would make it difficult for Fuld to pull it. Looking down at third base coach Mike Gallego. Ooh. It's a shorter hitter at the plate.
I don't know where it missed. It must have been down. That's a great spot. Ooh, tight zone. They just went right down the middle. Now the Oakland A's so far early in this season, they're really hitting in the clutch. They're hitting .349 as a team with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, they've found a way to make it happen offensively. They've put some runs on the board.
Well, there's an attempt to try and hit a ground ball to the right side.
Guthrie can look for the strikeout or pop it up.
Line to right, and Orlando comes up to make a good play. Jeremy Guthrie is our most trusted player. Brought to you by the most trusted brand, Honda. 13-game winner last year. All right, before the All-Star break, guys, 277 opponent's batting average, 18 home runs, ground ball ratio 41%. After the All-Star break, opponent's batting average went down, home runs went way down, so did the slugging percentage, and the ground ball ratio went up.
Because that's one of the things that Dave Island worked with Jeremy Guthrie initially when he came over in 2012, was find a way to get that downward plane on the pitch, and he really brought it to to the table last year in the second half of the season. A guy that, as a veteran, we needed leadership in that rotation alongside James Shields and Jeremy Guthrie, along with the others. They answered in a big way. So really nice to see Jeremy Guthrie take this team really to the postseason. Did a lot of really good things, and the wins were real important.
One and one on Mark Canha. Rule 5 pick we were talking about in the first inning. And he gets tied up. Easier play for Orlando. 2 down. So leadoff double for Simeon, and he's still standing at second base.
Yeah, and one of those things, Monty, you were talking about with Dave Island, how he tweaked his delivery, was to get a little more hip turn. Turn that hip a little bit more towards center field, hoping that would give him a little more action on his two-seam fastball, and also some better movement on his changeup away from the left-handed batters.
Yeah, and it's great as a pitcher when you respond to that instruction. Sometimes pitchers are a little reluctant to try to change. After you've been doing something like pitching for so many years of your life, you maybe get a little advice or a little help, and it's hard to do it. But here we're seeing Jeremy Guthrie do a great job pitching out of this man on second, nobody out situation.
Yeah, good scouting by the Royals, as defensively they are lined up perfectly for 2 line drives. Tim Saylor from Columbia, Missouri, and Nate Estrella from Gardner, Kansas. And although they had never met before, Tim donated his kidney to save Nate's life on February 17th at the University of Kansas Hospital Center for Transplantation. Nate had been on dialysis waiting for a donor for more than 3.5 years, and today both are recovering well, enjoying life with their families, and sitting in the Buck O'Neil Legacy seats at tonight's game.
Way to go. Congratulations, Tim. Great idea, huh? Help save somebody else's life and donate an organ.
Two 2-0, Sonny Gray to Alcides Escobar. Esky lost a hit on a nice play by the second baseman Zobrist in the first inning. There's that lively fastball that starts outside and just takes a right turn and dives into the strike zone.
2-0 count. Good to see him taking a strike there in that leadoff spot.
The breaking ball stayed up, but Alcides hits it right to Sam Fuld in center field. All right, Monty, here's a guy like you, not known for his size, but like you, has a big arm.
Yeah, he's a guy that has the ability to throw all 4 pitches for strikes, and that's a key for him. He has the ability to overpower, but the more times you see him, probably the more confused you are, because he has such good quality breaking ball, especially that curveball. He can really make it look like a slider at times, take a little bit off of it, and just roll it off the table.
Outside to Mike Moustakas, who grounded sharply back to Sonny Gray in the first inning. Moustakas hit .417 during the trip.
Well, defensive meeting today the Oakland A's had. They said, you know what, I know we pulled Moustak. We had a drastic pull shift last year on him. We're not doing it this year. He's proved to us so far that he's been able to hit the ball to left field. He's even bunting. So let's just try him straight up. We showed it to you last series in Minnesota. He does have a hit to right field, though, folks.
Three and one.
Now, there's no need in looking for a walk right here. Sonny Gray has a great pickoff move. Look to turn and burn on a heater here. Tie this game up.
Didn't quite get it. And again, Fuld in center field. 2 down. Well, we hope you'll be here tomorrow. Game 2 with the A's. And it's your turn to share in the Royals American League Championship trophy, as you will take home a replica tomorrow. First 10,000 fans receive an ALCS replica trophy, courtesy of Pepsi. The gates will open at 4:30, so make sure you get here early. And for tickets, go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. And let me also say, if you are thinking about coming out tomorrow, or Sunday for that matter, you might want to get on that right now, as the Royals are expecting over 100,000 fans for this 3-game weekend series. And it is jam-packed here tonight.
Sonny Gray, first 3 hitters in this inning, he's fallen behind. He's been able to get back into the count, but been trying to get back in there with the fastballs, and those are the pitches there that the Royals can get him on.
Two and one. Man, it's hard to sit on a fastball. I mean, 2-0, he gave you a fastball, but that thing has so much sideways movement. Kane with a good aggressive swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Ball had some 2-seam run on it.
Rex, he gets his life. He flies open a little bit and his arm slot drops down, and as a result he does get that lateral movement, but he also at times gets great sink when he doesn't fly open too much.
So I guess, Monty, this is, in his case, flying open is not a bad thing like it would be for another pitcher.
Right, as long as it's not too much. You'll watch his left side when he makes this delivery. He opens up that left side, and it should be actually easier to pick up the ball, but he gets such late life on all of his pitches, very difficult to track.
Still 3-2.
Yep, and at 5'11", 195 pounds, he stays low to the ground. Doesn't use a downhill angle, but it's coming out of there quickly.
And Kane goes the other way. He has a base hit to center. That extended his hitting streak to 10 games, and now base hit to right. And just like the first inning, he's on with 2 outs.
Well, that's seeing the ball all the way. Now letting the ball travel a little bit towards the catcher's glove. The ball was elevated, but you could see with 2 strikes, he already had it in his mind that it was going to be middle away, and he was going to take a stroke that way, and he did. Solid contact because the ball was elevated. We saw a delayed steal in Minnesota by Lorenzo Kane. You know that Stephen Vogt, the catcher, is going to be alive for that, but the infielders got to be aware of it as well.
Royals have stolen 8. They have been caught twice so far. Kane has 2 of those stolen bases. Hosmer reached with an infield single to the shortstop Simeon in the first inning. One and one.
So far this season, Hosmer has been really consistent with his front foot, and it's made a difference. He's not struggling. He's not winding up and taking a big full swing. He's just taking that front foot and just picking it up and setting it down. And as a result, it's keeping his swing shorter and more compact, and also keeping his self in good control.
Even with the Royals not scoring many runs the last 2 days in Minnesota, they still lead the league in runs scored, according to our Toyota League leaders for tonight. Into the left field corner and just foul. Royals in the first 7 games of the season, of which they won all 7, they were scoring over 7 runs per game on average.
Ball sliced down the line. Sometimes when a ball's hit that direction down the line, left field or right field, you can watch the hitter. He'll let you know. Either he takes off running and he knows it's going to be fair. If he thinks it's going to be foul, he won't even leave the batter's box.
Kane runs and Hosmer takes in the dirt. Kane has his 3rd stolen base and now in scoring position for Hosmer.
Best time to run when you believe a breaking ball is coming. Takes a little bit longer to get to home, but also could end up in the dirt. No chance for Vogt. Royals hitting just .269 so far in the young season with a runner in scoring position. Hosmer's 5 for 18.
Up the left field line, shallow, and it's going to drop. Hosmer drives in Kane to tie the game at 1.
Make him 6 for 19. Lorenzo Kane stealing his base, getting in scoring position. Hosmer fighting the ball off. Ends up falling in there. He'll take it.
Morales swung at the first pitch he saw in the first inning and grounded back to Gray. We'll see if Hosmer tries to do the same thing. Pick out a count where there's a breaking ball and try and swipe second base. Hit well, sinking in right field, and it sinks in front of Reddick.
Ball was up. Morales took a good even swing, but he hit more of the top half of the ball. And that was a good thing because it sunk down in right field in front of Reddick. Reddick has a very good strong throwing arm, so Hosmer had no chance to even think about going to third.
And guys, this crowd coming alive, really coming alive with a 2-out RBI single from Hosmer. It's kind of reminded me a little bit of that playoff atmosphere with standing room only here tonight.
A game we will never forget. A game the fans will never forget. And for those who were here in uniform, a game the A's will never forget. After 7 innings, they figured they were on their way to Southern California to play the Angels in the first round.
Incredible. Only in baseball can that happen.
Ooh. Jeremy Guthrie and Salvador Perez are saying, where's that pitch when we're on the field?
Exactly. It's that late sink that he's got to his pitches that make it so difficult.
Grounded through the right side. Hosmer will score. Morales goes to third. The Royals lead 2-1 in the third inning.
Oh, and 2, that breaking ball was a little bit too good and out over the plate. Enough for Alex to top it and pull it in that hole. And in turn, scoring Hosmer for the second run. But look at that, it's way too hittable. That's a too good of an 0-2 pitch to give a hitter when you're down, when you got him down. Morales going first to third. Reddick said, you know, I got a chance to get Morales, but I've told you before, Morales, he runs well for a big man.
It was a pretty easy first inning for Sonny Gray. But in the second, even though the Royals didn't score, he threw 23 pitches and now 26 in this inning. So against a very good pitcher, one of the elite in the league, the Royals are slowly but surely getting closer to the A's bullpen. Down and away to Salvador Perez.
Isn't this where Salvi's been thriving so far this year? 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. Look at those numbers.
6 for 10. 1-1. Royals have 6 hits. All of their hits with 2 outs, and all of their hits coming from the middle of the order. Kane, Hosmer, Morales, Gordon. The money men, if you will. And that got a lot of the plate. Morales scores. Gordon goes to third. And with 2 outs and nobody on, the Royals string together 5 consecutive singles to score 3.
Gotta love the ability of the Royals to put the ball in play. Salvador Perez no longer is trying to hit a 5-run homer every time up. He's staying under control. He had a will to guide that ball to the right side, and the Royals continue to find holes in a way they had to if they were going to beat Sonny Gray. Long way to go, but they're finding a way.
Well, you're right, Hud, too, about him wanting to go to the right side. Sal and Kane now tied for the league lead with RBIs with Adam Jones. Yeah, the A's might be saying, oh man, another soft hit, but with that swing you could see as Orlando tried to bunt Gordon home. That was a good look from behind home plate. Sal saw that wide open right side, and he was, whether he hit it hard or not, that's where he was trying to hit the ball.
Nope. Salvador's a much improved hitter, more mature, he's smarter. This could be a tremendous breakout season for Sal. Fans enjoying it. That's what they came for.
Oh, and 2 on Paulo Orlando. With that nasty breaking ball, Sonny Gray at times not only makes it tough on the hitters, he can make it tough on catchers. And with a runner at third and 2 down, and maybe going for a strikeout here, he had 15 wild pitches last season. Sal runs, and it's grounded foul.
Obviously, they expected a breaking ball to come. 0-2, and Salvador got it.
One and 2. Speaking of that breaking ball, that's the pitch that Gray got Orlando with in the second inning. Go ahead, Monty.
As a pitcher on the mound, you get 2 quick outs in an inning, and Rex, you alluded to it a little while ago, getting behind a lot of hitters early in counts, and Gray just really can't seem to stop the damage here. Great rally from the Royals here in this third inning.
And Orlando strikes out for a second time against Sonny Gray, but as Monty was talking about, with 2 outs and nobody on, and oftentimes with 2 strikes, Royals come up with 5 straight hits, 3 score, and the Royals lead by 2.
Frenzy style.
Royals as Billy Butler comes to the plate. There may be no one that knows him more than now Royals coach Mitch Meyer. He's a coach in the organization. Mitch, a first-round pick for the Royals in 03, Billy in 04. They played Instructional League in 04, High A and Double A in 05. 06 they were in Double A, and then teammates from 08 through 2012. And his memory of an 18-year-old Billy Butler, Mitch says he was good enough to hit in the big leagues right out of high school. Guys?
Well, he sure looked like he belonged when he got here for the first time in 2007. There's Mitch Meyer here tonight, sitting with George Brett. First-round pick in 2004 to the big leagues in 07, and then a three-time Royals Player of the Year, 2009, 2010, and 2012. Two and two.
Guthrie's job, just keep it down, use that defense, hold it steady if you can. Giving up 3 hits so far.
Another ground ball to the left side. This time Escobar fields and throws him out. Billy had joked that if he made an out, he was afraid that he might just out of habit make a right turn and head to the first base dugout, and poking fun at himself, saying, I made more outs than I had hits, so I know the route from first back to the dugout. But I haven't seen him come close to doing that tonight.
Well,
but we get the point.
Yep. Billy, well, what's he, almost a career 300 hitter? I mean, that's the life of a hitter, even when you're one of the best. Making more outs.
Ike Davis to deep right field and just over the railing. First home run as a member of the Oakland A's. Ike Davis. He's 2 for 2, and now it's a 3-2 game.
Boy, Ike Davis took a nice, easy swing on that one. Looked like a breaking ball. Man, it was a curveball. Stayed up right over the middle of the plate. And that's what happens sometimes when you put a nice, even swing on there and you catch that ball just right. It's going to carry. Paulo Orlando ran out of room. You can see that side spin on it. It's trying to get that ball to break, and it just didn't break enough.
And now Stephen Vogt with Orlando at the fence. Back-to-back home runs and 3 batters into the top of the 4th inning. The Oakland A's have tied the game at 3.
Just another cookie, back-to-back. Oh man, that's a changeup. So both of his secondary pitches getting turned on.
Now staying away from Brett Laurie. Second and third home runs allowed by Guthrie this year. The pitch is a good one at the knees. Keep the ball down against Laurie. Laurie, though, bunted and was awarded a sacrifice bunt and an RBI in the 2nd inning, getting a runner in from third. I've never liked that ruling. There was no sacrifice whatsoever for Brett Laurie. He was trying to get a hit. There was 1 out. So if it is truly a sacrifice where you are giving yourself up, you are accepting the fact that you are going to make an out.
Yeah, I agree. Now, not only was he looking for a base hit, but he wanted to just get the run home, really. And he was running out of the box. He was trying to push it. I agree with you. When they said sack bunt, I went, really? Anyway, Guthrie comes back with a punch out.
Monty, take a look at these 2 home run swings.
Yeah, we're going to see a couple off pitches, and Jeremy Guthrie, like other pitchers, for the majority of other pitchers, when you're going to throw an off pitch, it cannot be in the middle part of the plate. It cannot be up in a strike zone. We saw Jeremy Guthrie get away with some loud outs really in that second inning or third inning. But he tried to maybe go to that off-speed pitch a little bit more because they were on that fastball in that third inning. Unfortunately, didn't execute those pitches.
One and one on Josh Reddick. He flied out to center field in the second inning.
Loud outs. I like that phrase, Monty. If you're a pitcher, you like it, but if you're a hitter, you don't.
Well, as a pitcher, you like to get them any way you can, but you know when they're hitting line drives to the right fielder and line drives to your infielders, you know that you got to do some things and maybe change up the pace of your pitch and get the hitter a little bit off balance, and that's what he was trying to do. Unfortunately, again, like, he just did not execute the pitches the way that he needed to.
Back-to-back strikeouts after the back-to-back home runs. Oakland A's tie the game at 3 in the top of the fourth. Mazda game break. Another home run hit by Stephen Vogt. Jose Iglesias against Zach Duke with the infield in at Comerica Park. And that is a walk-off victory for the Tigers, 2-1. And the Detroit Tigers have the best record in baseball. They are 9-1. What a nice, well, you could say addition, even though Iglesias had already been in their system, but he missed all of last year with, you don't hear this very often, shin splints in both legs. But that kept him out of all of 2014. He is back with the Tigers and hitting well over 400. Sam Fuld, down he goes, taken out by Kane, the left fielder, but he hangs on. And Omar Infante is the first out of the bottom of the fourth.
Kane, he's new. He's a rookie. Couldn't back off in time and almost took Fuld's legs out. And fortunately, there was no injuries. Here's the wild card game. Hosmer almost left it out. A couple players collided.
One of them Sam Fuld, the other Johnny Gomes.
And it was on. Crowd was going crazy. I don't know how that ball didn't get out either.
Escobar is grounded to second and lined to center, 0 for 2. No balls, 2 strikes. Escobar did not see that pitch well out of Sonny Gray's hand.
He's guessing all the way on that one.
And off speed again, and Gray strikes out his fourth. Now the Royals have it right where they want him. 2 outs and nobody on. First 2 starts, Sonny Gray gave up 2 runs, only 1 earned in 15 1/3 innings, only 7 hits. And tonight, 3 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs. All 3 runs coming in the 3rd inning. And by the way, all 7 hits have come with 2 outs. Royals last inning had 2 outs and nobody on, and got a single from Kane, a single from Hosmer, a single from Morales, a single from Gordon, and a single from Perez to score 3 runs. 1-1 on Moustakas.
'77 pitches. They're working that pitch count. They'll do anything they can to get this guy out of the game.
And Vogt hesitating. Gray staring in at Chad Fairchild, who has had a bit of a inconsistent strike zone in the first 4 innings tonight. Hit well to the right side and through, and Mike Moustakas has hit in 7 straight games. 8 hits for the Royals tonight, all with 2 outs.
There you go. There's Moose pulling one in the hole. Now, had they shifted over like they played him last season, that's an out. But because Moose has done so well with his homework and hard work in spring training and early this season, he has forced the defense back over playing him straight up. Good for him. Hard work pays off.
Lorenzo Kane is 2 for 2. He has hit in 10 straight, which is a new career high for him. He has stolen a base tonight, his 3rd, and he has scored a run. That gets him up to 459. Two and 0.
Again, the Royals offense tonight, they are being patient and selective for the most part. Although, you know, Sonny Gray, he's got great stuff. He's got 4 punch outs, and that's expected. But man, the Royals are really eyeballing him and getting that pitch count up to 81 already here.
Not the pitch that Kane wanted. 2-1. And that's an average of 20 pitches per inning, which is high. Ideally, a pitcher would like to be 15 or fewer per inning. And you start getting to 20 pitches or more per inning, that's very high, and that means a busy night for the bullpen. 2-2. Batting averages for Lorenzo Kane within the different quadrants of the strike zone.
Sonny Gray trying to keep everything down on him. You see our Fox tracks on the right there. All those are pitches that he's thrown against him. He is definitely trying to keep that ball down. First pickoff move to first base as advertised. Quick and a hard throw. So as Lorenzo Kane is a good high ball hitter, you can see those numbers, especially at the very top of the. You're looking up there, and when you see that pitch, your eyes light up, and they tell your hands to go ahead and strike it. Ooh,
good movement on that pitch, and Gray strikes out his 5th. This time, no damage after 2 outs in the inning. 3-3 tie at Kauffman Stadium. Order online with rapid pickup at delivery.panerabread.com. By Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Royals 3, A's 3. Oakland's had a 1-0 lead. The Royals have had a 3-1 lead. 1-1 to Marcus Semien. Jeremy Guthrie's allowed 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 solo home runs, and good location to Semien, who doubled his first time up. That pitch was up. Kane to the track in left center field. Sundays at Kauffman Stadium have something for your whole family. Prior to every Sunday home game, Family Fun Day will feature face painters and balloon artists, an entertaining DJ, and player autographs atop the Royals dugout. But the fun doesn't stop there. Following the game, kids under 14 can run the bases during the Skippy Fun Run. Next one is the day after tomorrow against Oakland.
Skippy.
As in the peanut butter?
I'm not sure, but I've just thought about, when's the last time you ever skipped?
About 11:30 this morning.
There you go.
Oh, 0-2 on Sam Fuld. He is lined to right, grounded out to first. Monty, let's look at that pitch to Semien that he hit to the warning track in left center.
Yeah, Marcus Semien gets a pitch he really liked. Jeremy Guthrie didn't like it. In fact, from down here, guys, it sounded like it might be leaving the ballpark. Rex, this will fall in the category, another one of those loud outs. Jeremy Guthrie, a little sigh of relief.
Now Fuld lines to Kane in center field. Second time that Fuld has lined to the outfield, so another loud out. Monty, I'm sure this is a complicated question, and there's more than one answer to it, but typically, what does a pitcher do wrong when his breaking ball and his changeup stays up?
Well, some nights you just have that rhythm, you have that feel, and all the pitches seem to be working. Sometimes it's really more of an effort to execute those pitches, and usually it's the breaking balls that you get hurt on. It's a pitch that you try to get the finish out of the strike zone, off the plate, and it stays on the plate. Hitter has a opportunity and ability to react to it and puts great wood on the ball, and oftentimes those are the ones who leave the ballpark.
Mark Canha is 0 for 2. It was noisy at times, but Guthrie has a 1-2-3 top of the 5th inning. 3-3 to the bottom of the 5th inning. Eric Hosmer has 2 hits, 3 hits against Sonny Gray, and he's on to begin the 5th inning. It's the first time the Royals have had a hit tonight with fewer than 2 outs.
Haas, he dumped one into left field, left down the left field line. For his first hit. This one here, he was aggressive early. Got the top half of the ball right under his glove. Good stroke. That's Ike Davis.
Second time in the last 3 days the Royals have had a 9-single game. They did that Wednesday night at Minnesota. Ball 1 to Kendrys Morales. He is 1 for 2 with a run scored.
Stephen Vogt, who's doing the catching for Sonny Gray tonight, only had 8 starts behind the plate last year, and he was 2 for 2 in throwing runners out. So you really don't know exactly what kind of throwing stroke he has. He was pretty active around the field, though. He had 47 games at first, played 18 in the outfield, and he DH'd some.
Chance for 2. Zobrist, Simeon, Davis. 2 down. Well, Royals fans, did you know that great season ticket options are still available? That's right. You can still secure season tickets in lower level sections like the dugout box or dugout plaza with a prorated 20, 40, or full season package. Want to make sure you're here for all of 2015 by becoming a season ticket holder. Royals.com/season tickets or calling 816-504-4040 option 2. And the Royals, if you're interested in season tickets, you can come out to the ballpark when the Royals are on the road or have an off day, and you can actually sit in the seats, try them out, take them for a test drive, if you will.
Well, there's not really a bad seat in the house, is there?
There aren't any bad ones, but some are better than others.
All right.
Two and one on Alex on an 0-2 pitch in the 3rd inning. Alex singled to right, driving in the 2nd of 3 runs in that inning.
Last year in the postseason, while you were doing radio with Denny, I got to sit in the stands with the people.
Hit well left center field, but Fuld glides over and makes the play. 5 in the books at Kauffman Stadium. It's the Royals 3 and the A's 3. Series is presented by Chevrolet. One of the best pitch games that we saw all of last year. It was in August. The Royals were at Oakland. The Royals were in the middle of winning 16 out of 19 games, and it was a duel between Jeremy Guthrie and Sonny Gray. It ended up being a 1-0 game. Both guys don't have their A game tonight, but both still in there as we go to the 6th.
Yeah, I had a feeling it would be a low-scoring game. Now, wasn't expecting the back-to-back jacks off of Guthrie, though. No, I thought he had a nice 3-run lead, or excuse me, a 3-1 lead with 2 runs, but just couldn't hold it. I mean, gave it right back the next inning. Got Zobrist and Butler, and then the 2 guys have done the damage. Ike Davis and Stephen Vogt coming up after that.
One and 2 on Zobrist, who swung at the first pitch in his first 2 at-bats. Another new member of the A's after several years with the Tampa Bay Rays, and boy, he moved all over the field. One year played 7 positions for Joe Madden. Another year played 6 positions. Good pitch. Had him reaching out over his front leg, and Paulo Orlando will bring it down for the first out. Guthrie's retired the last 6. Well, apparently Billy likes wearing blue as well. There was a press conference here before the game tonight, and Billy said being in Kansas City just out of habit, he put his nice blue shirt on because, as he put it, I look good in blue. Came to the ballpark not even thinking that his teammates might be on him for wearing the opposing team's colors.
Well, he was anticipating coming here all off season once he joined the A's, and I'm sure he wasn't disappointed. Great ovation, especially before the game when he got his ring. Alex Gordon, his buddy, was out there with him. And then the first time he came to the plate here, wow, very respectful.
Into center field for a base hit. Well, Billy's on for the first time, and now a few fans have turned their cheers into boos. An 11-game hitting streak, extending his A's record for consecutive games as a new member of the A's, and moments before the first pitch tonight, getting his championship ring. Alex Gordon, as Billy was acknowledging Royals fans, said, "Hey, just for a moment, put the right cap on."
He's smiling again. He keeps that streak alive. He's happy. Anytime you're on a streak, you'd like to get it as soon as you can, but he'll take it whenever he can get it. Third time up, he got him at knock. You know, he's wearing Hosmer out over there at first base.
And they've never had a chance to talk like this before. I was just reminded by a member of our crew that if you're going to wear Alex Gordon's hat, you probably want to do it in the first 2 weeks of the season, because he wears the same hat all season long.
That's a good point.
Out at second base. Double play. 3-6-3.
They gave away 3 Gold Gloves today here at the K. Don't be surprised if it's 4 next year with that guy Escobar. Incredible. Flat-footed. Didn't even wind up, and look at that arm. Woohoo!
Johnson of TBS, and boy, did he sum that up. What a night in Kansas City.
But Rhino, his call was nothing like yours on radio. I'll never forget that, man. I was so proud of my partner for getting to call a signature call like that in the Kansas City Royals history. Salvi!
How about that? Same ground ball. Fair ball! Fair ball! I don't know why I said it twice, but you think you're just searching for words in a moment like that.
There it was. Oh, Salvi on cue. Now, in order to get around on a pitch like that, must have been a breaking ball. It looked to me like it was pretty straight. Straight heater there. Laurie with a nice try on a short hop pick. Couldn't come up with it. Salvi with his second knock of the night.
Paulo Orlando's had a tough time with Sonny Gray tonight, and the A's are assuming that he's going to bunt. They have the corners both way in, especially Ike Davis. Ball one low. Our Sonic Slam inning contestant is Charles Randolph from Lee Summit. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Charles wins $600. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Charles wins $25 grand from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
Well, Laurie, the third baseman, he's close. Simeon, the second baseman's kind of holding Salvi. Swing away.
Into the right field corner, and that is just foul. The Royals have just missed home runs into the corners. Hosmer in the third inning, and now Orlando in the sixth. By the way, the Perez double is the Royals' first extra base hit tonight. It is their 10th hit, and that ties a career high allowed by Sonny Gray.
Wow, now coming into this game, I knew the Royals were going to be in some trouble, but man, I didn't believe that they would get 10 hits off him. They're not even done with it. Move that runner to third base, Paulo. There you go.
That'll get some high fives in the Royals dugout. Getting the job done and getting the go-ahead run to third base with one out as we get closer to the seventh inning in the back end of the Royals bullpen. This is a huge run.
That's right. HDH time in that bullpen. Salvador Perez is able to be moved over by the little things. This game offensively is so tough, especially facing a guy like Gray. If you do one good thing in that game, you've had a good game. That's how hard it is. And look at Paulo. He made an out, but that's one good thing. The infield's in, looking for Infante to drive him in. Or, like you mentioned earlier, they'll take a wild pitch, anything to get that run home. Infante's got to have that approach mentally of thinking right up the middle. I'm looking for anything out over the plate. And up if possible. I don't know, the way Gray has that sinker going down and cutters and stuff moving down. Think up the middle, biggest hole on the field.
1-1 on Infante. Base hit center field. Omar Infante comes through. And the Royals lead 4-3 in the sixth inning.
On the 100th pitch delivered by Gray, setting a new career high of hits given up, 11 now. What a stroke. Doing exactly like you want to do. Think up the middle of the field. He got him a pitch to handle, and he was short and compact to the ball. Oh, and I'll tell you what. Game gets tight on the line. You can trust Infante. He has a license to drive.
One on Alcides Escobar.
Hey, nice try on the hit and run there. You know, if you can't get a straight steal off of Gray, you try a little hit and run.
Mike Moustakas, left-hand batter, is on deck, so Eric O'Flaherty is ready in the A's bullpen. Off of Gray's glove, and because of that, the A's turn a double play, 1-4-3. Royals take the lead. Perez doubles, Infante gets him home. From Rally House, Omar Infante driving in Salvador Perez to put the Royals in front, and it's Jeremy Guthrie back out for the 7th inning. His pitch count is excellent. However, he has allowed a double and a home run to this hitter, Stephen Vogt. 1 ball, 1 strike, and Kelvin Herrera just started warming up about 2 minutes ago.
Well, this being early in the season, Ned Yost figuring he'll let Guthrie just try to go as far as he can, at least for now, but that pitch there was not advisable. And Vogt said, you know what, I liked it. It was up and changed the speeds, sped my bat up, and the rest is history. But here's what a manager's thinking. It's early in the season. My veteran's got 78 pitches going. I'm gonna just instill some trust in him. Oh my. So much for trust. Well, Ned, he was sitting at the bottom of the steps there. And he tried to give Guthrie a little bit of leash there. But now it's back to the drawing board. Guthrie, 3 solo homers.
And for the first time in a week, Kelvin Herrera is a Chevy call to the bullpen. So let's do it the hard way, like in the wild card game. Our sprint cuts of the game.
Oh man, Vogt having a career day. Those back-to-back homers, first time in his career he's had multi-homer games. Oh, before that, he hit a nice double. He's perfect tonight.
Well, if it's not the very first question Ned Yost has asked after the game, it'll be one of the first 3. Kelvin Herrera should be fresh. He hasn't pitched in a week. And Stephen Vogt had already homered once against Jeremy Guthrie. This is Kelvin Herrera's inning. And Vogt ties it up, and now Brett Lawrie goes the other way. And the A's have the leadoff man on, or the lead runner on, potential lead runner on, as Lawrie has his first hit of the night.
Yep. Right before that homer, I was trying to explain what maybe the thinking was with Ned, because the pitch count was so low, but I can hear people saying they don't care about the pitch count. This is Herrera's inning.
Josh Reddick has flied to center and struck out swinging. Herrera last pitched on the 10th at the Angels, working a scoreless 8th inning. Three and 0. Three and 1 to Reddick. Oakland A's have hit 3 home runs tonight. If there's a silver lining, all 3 have been solo home runs. Tied at 4 in the 7th inning. Off of Herrera's foot, and Moustakas flips to second base, and a hard slide by Lawrie into Alcides Escobar.
sure about that. Neither is the Royals. They've had enough. They've been hit more times than anybody in baseball, and now that was a late hard slide.
You know, and it's easy to fall back on, we're just playing the game hard, but there was no way in the world that the Royals were going to turn a double play right there. There really is no place for a takeout slide there unless you're trying to injure the infielder.
I totally agree.
You got to have a better feel than that.
Yeah, and if I'm going into that base there, I'm going directly to the base. I'm going to try to beat it. That was a borderline dirty slide. Hopefully Escobar's all right. He would have beat it had he slid directly into the base. I mean, he would have beat it easily. I thought Moose was going to take a shot at first. I thought he had a better chance at first. You know, and the shortstop at that's a vulnerable position. I mean, his back's to the runner. He's obviously just looking for the just to get one out there. Okay, here's Escobar. They're just trying to get the force play there. Lowry comes in hard, like he's trying to break up two. Hopefully Escobar is going to be all right.
All right, now you might want to use judgment on this last angle we're going to show you.
Yeah, I mean, that's cleats high.
That's a dirty slide.
Spikes high. I'd agree. Look at Infante. He's like, what the heck is he doing?
That is a hard slide that has absolutely no purpose whatsoever, other than to hurt the player at second base. Now, I'm not saying Brett Lawrie was trying to hurt Alcides Escobar. Let me make that very clear. But the only thing that can come out of a slide like that, you're not preventing a double play. And now Oakland is challenging the play at second base. They think that Lawrie may have been safe. And I think Brett Lawrie, who plays as hard and at 100% as anyone in the major leagues, I think he realizes now, unless he's a glutton for insults, there's a reason why he went into the dugout and came back out of the dugout and was watching Alcides Escobar at second base. Now maybe he's wondering if he's going to go back to second. They might win this challenge, unless they could maybe prove that Escobar maybe made contact with Lawrie after he overslid the bag. So the back leg hits the bag, but then he comes off the bag. Did Escobar make any contact with his glove? Now remember, in a situation like this, if somebody in New York can't determine whether Escobar made contact with his glove or not, you always defer to the call on the field. So I think the first question has been answered. Lawrie did beat the throw to second base, but he went over the bag, and it appeared that Escobar may have made contact with his glove while he was off the bag.
Yep, that's probably what's taking him so long. He's out.
And there might have been a riot here tonight if Lawrie had been called safe and went back out to second base. The call stands. So as I was suggesting, that the call was not confirmed, So the call stands. So there was no evidence one way or the other that the umpire got it wrong on the field. So it defers back to the call on the field, and that was at Laurie's out. So Christian Colon takes over at shortstop. 1 out. Reddick is at first base, and Marcus Simeon's at the plate. Strike 1. A 5-6 force out.
Let's hope Escobar is okay.
And to be perfectly accurate, it's 1-5-6 off of Herrera's foot. So 1-5-6. Two balls and 1 strike on Simeon. He is doubled and flied out to deep center field.
Reddick not much of a stolen base threat. He just stole 1 bag last season. Salvi, though, hoping he'd get a big secondary lead. He did, but throw was on the wrong side of the bag.
Now 2 on with 1 out as Simeon takes a walk, and Herrera is showing some rust after having not pitched in a week. Sam Fuld is a tough luck 0 for 3. He grounded out in the first inning, but then lined to right in the third and lined to center in the fifth. Strike 1 at 98 miles an hour from Herrera.
Yep, power fastballs there. Mixes in an excellent deceptive changeup. Occasional breaking balls.
Royals yesterday had a very impressive streak come to an end. The bullpen had gone 23 1/3 innings without allowing a run. Fuld thought that he made contact. And after what happened to Escobar, Royals fans are looking for any opportunity possible to chew on one of the hitters. The A's do not have a challenge.
Salvador Perez does what any alert catcher will do on a foul tip. He's going to do all he can to pick that ball up, show it, make sure he caught it clean off the foul tip before it hit the dirt, and that was the case. That's Mike Aldretti, the new bench coach for Bob Melvin this year, coming over from the Cardinals.
Big swing and a miss by Mark Canha. He was 0 for 3 against Guthrie. He has Reddick at second base, Simeon at first. The A's tied the game on Stephen Vogt's second home run to begin this inning. Royals trying to keep it right there as they have Moustakas, Kane, and Hosmer coming up in the bottom of the 7th. Reddick got a huge jump. Perez throws down to second, and a nice save by Infante. A dangerous throw.
Very dangerous. Tie game here late. That ball gets by him. Reddick scores. Told you Reddick stole one back last year, but he got it right here with an excellent jump off Herrera. Salvi double clutched. Really had no business throwing this ball, but Infante saved him by coming and getting him. It's a good example of an infielder reading the throw and coming and getting it before it gets into the outfield.
Struck him out. 100 miles an hour. Stretch time at Kauffman Stadium. Sellout crowd in a 4-4 tie. By Steel outdoor power equipment, quality, reliability, and value. Search STIHL. By your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit your MidwestFordDealers.com. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. Four ties. Mike Moustakas leads off the bottom of the 7th inning and has a good rip at Eric O'Flaherty's first pitch. And A's Chevy call to the bullpen after the Royals had 11 hits against Sonny Gray in 6 innings. That's a career high for Sonny Gray.
Stephen Vogt took him off the hook with that game-tying homer. O'Flaherty, 89 to 94 mile an hour fastball. He'll sink it and cut it. Slider. Changeup he'll throw to righties. Moose is telling himself, boy, throw me that one again.
Brett Lawrie, who took out Alcides Escobar with a hard slide in the top of the 7th inning, makes a play, 1 down. Fans, you don't want to miss the 2nd annual Zubaz Palooza Day, Friday, May 1st. This special ticket package will feature one-of-a-kind powder blue Royals-themed Zubaz pants and a game ticket. Packages start at just $25. Purchase today while supplies last at Royals.com/special events. Lorenzo Kane has a 2-hit game. Runs scored and a stolen base.
Oh,
he has a 3-hit game. Is that a nice swing?
No, that's the kind of swing right there. Yet he's saying, you know what? I'm not going to try to do too much. It's a pitch that is out over the middle of the plate. He could have tried to pull that ball, but he said, you know, I'm just going to get on base and see if we can let Hosmer and Morales bring me around.
That is already his third 3-hit game. This is only the 10th game of the year.
Stay hot.
Eric Hosmer has a 3-hit game. An infield single, a single to left with an RBI, and a single to right. Davis down to second out there, and no double play. Hosmer at first with 2 down. Wade Davis getting ready for the top of the 8th inning. The A's will have the middle of their order: Zobrist, Butler, and Davis. Ike Davis, that is. Off of Laurie's glove, and Hosmer is going to head for third.
Morales checks in with his second hit of the game. First one was to right field. This one here, Simeon would have had it. Laurie tips it with his glove. First and third, 2 outs. Hosmer reads it. It's an easy read. You don't need to look at the third base coach on that one. Plays right in front of you. Walk into third.
Well, good news on Alcides Escobar. A mild sprain to his knee. Sure looked like his ankle took the brunt of it, but a mild sprain on his left knee.
Boy, that's good news.
Alcides Escobar, who took that hard slide by Brett Laurie. And had to be helped off the field. He is listed as day-to-day. Well hit, and Zobrist falling and still able to get the out. Royals strand 2. We go to the 8th inning and a 4-4 tie.
League, and we see Detroit, their first 9-1 start since 1984. They won the World Series that year. Cleveland and Minnesota all tied up. Angels ahead of Houston as Mike Trout joins the 100-homer, 100-stolen base club, and the Mets beat the Marlins 4-1. A Primera or Mazda game break takes us to Toronto, and the third baseman for the Blue Jays involved in that trade for Brett Laurie. Josh Donaldson goes deep, but the Braves win that one 8-7. Guys?
All right, Joel, thank you. Here is Wade Davis. And the middle of the order coming up, Zobrist, Butler, and Ike Davis. Wade pitches for the 5th time, and he has not appeared in a game since the 11th, so 6 days. Since the start of last year, all of those first place ranks among relievers. One of the best seasons in Major League history by a reliever last year. And how about one pitch, one out to get Zobrist, who is 0 for 4. Well, Billy was asked before the game, because he and Greg Holland are such good friends, and I think it was Joel who asked the question, would a best case scenario for Billy and his homecoming to Kansas City come up with the game on the line and face Greg Holland in the 9th inning? And Billy saying, yeah, I wouldn't mind being up there with the game on the line. I'm not sure how much I want to face Greg Holland. Well, here's Wade Davis with the game on the line in the 8th inning.
Yep, hard four-seamer at 97. He'll go 98 at times with that pitch. He's got an excellent cut fastball around 93. And a very good overhand curve.
Paulo Orlando is there. So Billy 1 for 4 so far in his return to Kansas City. 2 outs in the 8th inning. Well, we showed you Stephen Vogt's 2 home runs for the A's tonight. The A's have hit 3. Ike Davis hit the first A's home run back in the 4th inning. That is our Dodge drive of the game.
Fortunately, they were all solo shots.
You know, this is a guy, if you're talking to fans in the American League and you go, Ike Davis, huh? But you know, just 3 years ago, he hit 32 home runs for the Mets, 90 RBIs, never came close to that again. Line to center, Kane coming up. That's the inning. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com with the official daily partner of MLB. Enter promo code VRoyal for free entry. 4-4 tie. Royals and A's pick up where they left off last year. Same big crowd here tonight. Of course, not as much on the line, but here we are, 4-4 tie, bottom of the 8th, and Dan Otero, who appeared in that wild card game, comes on to face Salvador Perez, Paulo Orlando, and Omar Infante. One and one. Otero started that 12th inning, so he ended up taking the loss in the wild card game as Sal is on to begin the 8th inning. And now the question is, and before I can get it out of my mouth, do you run Gerard Dyson here? And the answer is yes. Here's Dyson. Eric Kratz will come on for the top of the 9th inning. Kratz hasn't been in the game yet.
Good move right here. Got to go for it here in the situation here. You got Holland up there warming out there for the 9th inning. Salvador gets a mistake from Otero. Otero is a sinker baller, and that definitely did not sink. But he relies on ground balls. Salvi, 3 hits on the night. Along with that sinking fastball, Otero there, he almost missed the mark. Ike Davis did a nice job of staying away out of contact for the most part. He'll throw a slider and a changeup to go along with that heavy sinking fastball.
That wasn't a sneaky little way to try and get Dyson off the bag, was it?
Well, I think the throw took him in there, really. Ike was just trying to keep it from getting away from it, with nobody out.
Strike to Paulo Orlando, 0 for 3 tonight.
With nobody out, Paulo Orlando can handle the bat. You almost wonder the success rate that Dyson has stealing, if that'll give him a chance to steal second and then bunt him over.
Slide step. And Orlando got a little piece of it, 0-2. Royals are going to see a lot of that this year. Slide steps. Pitcher trying to speed up his delivery out of the stretch.
Yep, it's no secret. Royals last 2 years leading all of baseball in steals. Dyson, I've seen him get bigger leads.
Cracked his bat. Still no balls, 2 strikes. And while Paulo gets a new bat, we remind you that Craft and Draft featuring Boulevard is the new place to be here at Kauffman Stadium. It's now open on the loge level, and this unique space, there it is, offers fans an open-air, climate-controlled destination with over 75 beer varieties, gastro pub fare, and a custom pizza bar. And the venue is open to any ticket holder. Select single and group tickets are also available. Check it out next time you're here. The reviews have been great, especially on a night like tonight.
Dyson ripped off 36 bags last year, got caught just 7 times. There's Rusty Kuntz, the mastermind behind the steals, and looks to me like he said go ahead.
Not running. Oh. And a drive into right center field. And the Royals track team scores 1 run, and Paulo Orlando, what else would he hit? Paulo Orlando has 5 4 triples.
Oh, if you like base running, you just love that one. Salvador Perez got it started with a lousy single up the middle. Dyson comes in. Paulo with 2 strikes on him. Guides that ball perfectly struck. Right center field. It's on. Fans loving what they're seeing here now.
Well, the Royals didn't need a stolen base from Dyson. Omar Infante just 2 innings ago with the infield in, singled in a run.
Let's check out the track meet here. Paulo was going so fast, he stumbled coming around second base, but Dyson, he was at home in no time.
Just down and away, 2-1 to Omar Infante, who is now hit safely in 7 straight. Two and 2.
Infante, like he did in his last at bat, with 2 strikes, he was able to drive that ball up the middle for the go-ahead run. With 2 strikes now, and see if he can do the same thing with the infield drawn in.
Just got a piece of it. Still 2 and 2.
Gotta love a playoff atmosphere here in April.
Three and 2. Brett Laurie and Orlando making contact over at third base. Fans. Brett Laurie bends over to tie his shoes. He's going to get booed tonight. Sam Fuld gets behind it.
Got a good arm.
Orlando off the sprinter's blocks. Comes home to give the Royals a 2-run lead.
You gotta love the swagger the Royals have. They will battle, they will compete, they'll beat you in every area of the game if you let them. He's a sprinter coming off the blocks. There it is. No chance. Not with Bo Jackson's arm.
Fuld in center field for the second out. Paulo Orlando. If Paulo doesn't mean triple in Portuguese before tonight, it does now.
You better believe it will make the word a triple. Paulo.
Strike to Mike Moustakas. He's 1 for 4 with a single.
He's a triple machine.
And now 0-2. 4th inning single for Moustakas gives him a 7-game hitting streak. The A's against Holland in the 9th will have Vogt, Laurie, and Reddick. 1-2 on Moustakas. Royals with 15 hits tonight. 15 hits, 13 singles, but the 2 extra base hits have been big. Salvador Perez leading off the 6th inning with a double, scored the then go-ahead run, and then Paulo Orlando with his RBI triple, and he scored a run. Field, and a sliding catch by Canna for the final out. Paulo Orlando. The Royals wanted to get a look at him in right field tonight, and they have gotten more than just a look. A triple to put the Royals in front, and then scoring a run for some insurance.
That's what speed do. That takeout at second. Monty, if you're a pitcher and a teammate of Alcides Escobar's, Brett Lawrie coming up, what happens?
Joel, you're right. My blood pressure was up quite a bit, and I feel like I'm his teammate, even though I'm up in this booth. As a teammate, you remember that what happened, whether it's intentional or not, it happened, and you have to take care of it.
But not this inning.
Probably not in this situation.
More of that on Boulevard Royals Live, and we'll preview Giordano Ventura's start tomorrow, guys.
All right, Joel. And what they're referring to, if you weren't with us a couple of innings ago, Brett Lawrie, who is on deck with a hard / dirty slide into Alcides Escobar at second base. Escobar had to be helped off the field. It was a gruesome looking play, but thankfully the report out of the Royals clubhouse is that Esky has a mild sprain to his left knee, and he is day to day. Stephen Vogt. Royals keep him in the ballpark this time. He is the first out of the 9th inning.
All right. The base runner can see the play in front of him. All he knows is he's got to beat the throw. So typically you're going to go right into the base, but you can see he was aimed at Escobar.
For now, the Royals will settle for the second out of the 9th inning.
Lawrie better pray for rain tomorrow.
So now it's Holland and Josh Reddick, who is 0 for 3. Two and 0. Greg Holland going for his 4th save and trying to save it for Wade Davis. Three and 0. Marcus Semien is on deck. Wade Davis is 10 and 0 since the beginning of last year. That's the most wins in the major leagues for a reliever, and he's 1 out away from being 11 and 0 during that stretch. But it's not over yet, and now the potential tying run comes to the plate with 2 down. And now Holland will get Marcus Semien. Semien has faced Holland 3 times. He's never put the ball in play. He's walked once and struck out twice. .94 in for a strike.
Yep, mid-90s fastball, slider, occasional split fingers.
Popped up. Eric Kratz playing in his first game of the year. He's got it. Not quite as exciting, not quite as loud, but another thrilling victory for the Royals over the A's at Kauffman Stadium. And Paulo Orlando, who has spent parts of 10 seasons in the minor leagues, Royals giving him a chance to make a big league roster for the first time as a backup outfielder, and now might get a chance to play on a regular basis with Alex Rios out. And Paulo Orlando ends up with the game-winning hit, driving in Gerard Dyson to put the Royals in front in the bottom of the 8th inning, and he comes around to score. And if you weren't with us earlier, Paulo Orlando has 5 major league hits, 4 triples.
Amazing. And 1 through 9, as we see Casey put the W up. 1 through 9 in that order. You never know, just like last season, who's going to drive that bus. And it's exciting, especially with that speed. Gerard Dyson bringing the mail home from first base. Didn't need to steal. And Wade Davis, wow, is he the go-to good luck pitcher to get the W?
So let's get another look at the go-ahead triple.
2 strikes on him. Shorten up his swing. He says, I know how to do this. That's all I do now, is hit the gaps and let the legs take over. A track meet broke out late.
Joel, I don't know if you can hear me. It's very loud, I'm sure, down in the field, but I sure would like to know how you say triple in Portuguese.
Well, I'll ask for you. Paulo Orlando joins me on the field, Mr. Triple. Salvador Perez, Paulo wants you to know he knew it was coming. Instead of looking over his shoulder, he just said, I'll take it. How do you say triple in Portuguese?
I think triple.
There you go. Triple translates very well whether you're from Brazil or from Kansas City. 5 big league hits, 4 of them are triples. Did you ever dream of having a triple in front of a sold-out crowd?
Well, I never think about, this guy just motivates everybody, they're coming out in the stadium like so beautiful, so I just try to do my best, and finally I got another triple, but I'm working for better and run and when I pass to the second base and not fall down, but thanks guys for motivation us.
Well, you got 4 triples, you got a single. We'll have a double and a home run at some point. But how fired up was the dugout? How motivated was this team after seeing one of your best players get injured?
Oh, the guys did great, you know, and like they pushing me, like, you know, I strike out the first 2 at bat, but just try to be focused, you know, and then hit ball, like move it, run, you know, dice. I know he can run well. I just try to hit the right side. So finally, I got good base hit and you know, going third.
You talked about the crowd motivating you. This is one of the biggest crowds we have ever seen at Kauffman Stadium in April. That wasn't opening day. It feels like the playoffs. What do you think when you look up and you see about 40,000 people wearing blue Royal shirts?
Well, I just never play like this, you know, like a stadium full. But it's like I try to do my best, you know, and for these guys, you know, watching and push everybody to win the game.
I think you're a very popular guy here in Kansas City and Brazil. Paulo, congratulations.
Thank you very much. And say hi to everybody in Brazil, you know, my family, my friends, you know, watch the game tonight. So this for them too, and let's do it tomorrow.
There you go, Paulo Orlando, and we just learned triple in English, the same as triple in Portuguese, and a worthy hat tip. Brian?
Well, I'll bet back in Sao Paulo, it's Paulo, which means triple. Orlando had another Paulo tonight and another ice bath, and the Royals win 6-4. We'll be right back.